Hello there, I am the Gaming Fan, and I did beat Golden Freddy Custom Night for sister location, and I will be showing that clip at the end of the video, because of course you probably want to see me scream into my microphone very loudly. But I also wanted to talk about something a little more interesting, because just showing the clip, that would have been boring. Like, come on, who wants to see that? I wanted to talk to you about how Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, in my opinion, pretty much saved Five Nights at Freddy's. You're probably thinking, no single game saved Five Nights at Freddy's, it's just always been popular. Well, this may not have been the case if Five Nights at Freddy's sister location released in a somewhat different state. I'll go ahead and give you some quick context. Take a look at the first 4 games. They're like Call of Duty, constantly releasing and are technically different, but really they're pretty much the same game. I mean, if we're being real, yeah, they're pretty much the same game. Yeah, sure, the animatronics are different, the jump scares are a little bit different, the area is different, the mechanics are even different, but at its core, it is the same game. This was also a bit of a fragile time for the franchise. I mean, Five Nights at Freddy's 4's story was all over the place. Nobody knew what to think of it. I mean, we had some ideas, we had a few theories, but honestly, we had no idea what we were talking about. I mean, even the almighty MatPack couldn't figure it out. MatPack couldn't figure it out. So we were just kind of sitting there in the dust thinking, I guess we'll just wait for the next game. And then FNaF World came out. And then the book. And honestly, it seemed like the franchise was getting close to irrelevancy. And not to mention, it was competing with several other games at the time. Let me look at the list. I mean, early 2017 had Dead by Daylight, Bendy and the Ink Machine, Resident Evil 7 for crying out loud. That game was amazing. Then late 2017, let me look again. And then late 2017 gave us Outlast 2, The Evil Within 2, Doki Doki Literature Club, and a big one, Hello Neighbor. So if Five Nights at Freddy's sister location was not an improvement over the other games, but merely another recreation, then this game might have possibly killed the franchise, especially since all these other great games were coming out at the time, or the next year. But here's where Five Nights at Freddy's sister location had to change. If it had done the same thing that its previous 4 games had done, it would not have made it, in my opinion. I mean, unless there was such a big story revelation or something equivalent, it just would not have made it. What it did different was change the entire game. I mean, just the ability to switch between rooms in a single night changed everything. And every time you went up against an animatronic, it was not the same experience. Yeah, sure, the jump scares looked the same, but that was about it. Completely new mechanics, completely different assets of fear, completely different methods of scaring you, which is a big thing for horror games. It also came out with a good amount of content. It came out with those extras, the custom night, as well as the main storyline. So let's enter an alternate reality for a second, in which Five Nights at Freddy's sister location was just another Five Nights at Freddy's game. Survive for 5 nights, until 6 AM every night, get your paycheck at the end, and go home. I mean, maybe not exactly like that, because 4 wasn't like that either, but we will just assume it is the same formula as the other games. So, after the results of PewDiePie playing Five Nights at Freddy's 4, and him pretty much complaining about being the same thing over and over again, and then FNaF World releasing, which apparently nobody liked, I don't think a lot of people would have taken kindly to a game being basically the same as the previous 4 games. It might have had lots of story beats and all that stuff, but I mean, the same concept again and again and again. The YouTubers might have gotten bored of it. Not to mention those other releases I was talking about would have released after sister location and stole the attention from Five Nights at Freddy's. Because if another game had released, it might not have been enough to save Five Nights at Freddy's, because sister location might have been a huge disappointment to people. Now, come back to our reality where sister location tried to poke at tons of fears that your brain can experience. Take that segment where you're sitting in front of Freddy at the repair setup. That part was terrifying. And the fact that they brought it to VR is pure genius. The part where you're crawling through that room with Ballora trying to listen for you, yeah, it was really easy, but it was still really frightening at the time. And even those little Biddy Bab things trying to open that little hatch you were hiding in was pretty terrifying on its own. Entering that dark room with Foxy in it, ugh, the what was it called? The scooping room. And even though Night 4 is annoying, I would not change anything about it. Just being in the suit, just seeing everything up close, just in that dark room was perfect. All these experiences saved Five Nights at Freddy's sister location and saved the franchise, in my opinion. I'm not saying the franchise would have died out completely, but I think it pretty much cemented itself after sister location. And that is all the explanation I've got for you. That is my theory on how sister location saved Five Nights at Freddy's. And now, beating Golden Freddy. I'll see y'all later. Yeet. Yes!
You did!
Yes! God, that was so stupid! Ugh!
Good job!
All of you can kill yourselves! Yes! Okay, let's watch it together. Let's watch it together.
Father, it's me, Michael. I did it. I found it. It was right where you said it would be. They were all there. They didn't recognize me at first, but then they thought I was you. And I found her. I put her back together, just like you asked me to. She's free now. But something is wrong with me. I should be dead, but I'm not. I've been living in shadows. There is only one thing left for me to do now. I'm going to come find you.